For task 2, we want to use the equation volume equals pi r squared times h. For the purpose of this example, we want to use h always being a constant of 2. So that means that h is always going to be equal to.
So with that information, we can identify that volume is going to be our dependent variable, and that radius is going to be our independent variable. So radius will be our input, and volume will be our output. So from that information, we can create our T-chart. Using R for radius as our input, and V for volume as our output.
Okay, so we want to be able to use a radius of 10 for our first example. We're going to input 10. So when we rewrite our equation, we're going to have V equals pi times 10 squared. And we know that h is always going to be equal to. So we can go ahead and square 10. 10 times 10 is going to be 100. We can multiply that by 2. 100 times 2 is 200. So we can go ahead and we can keep pi over there, and we can keep it as 200 pi. And we know that our volume is going to be 200 pi. For the sake of this, though, just to put a number, we're going to say that pi is equal to 3.14. When we calculate 200 times 3.14, we get 628. So going back to our T-chart, we can put 628 into our dependent variable column.
So we can also figure out the input if we know the output. So let's say that we know that the volume is 628. So we know that our output, our dependent variable, is 628. How can we solve for our input, our radius? So again, it goes back to our equation. So in place of volume, we can put 628, have that equal to pi times r squared times height, and we know that height is always equal to 2. And then we can combine like terms, multiply pi and 2, and like stated earlier, pi is always going to be 3.18, so that's going to be 6.28, and then we times r squared. So now it goes back to solving equations. So using the inverse operation, we need to divide each side by 6.28 to get r squared by itself. So 6.28 divided by 6.28 is just 1. So we are left with r squared. And then 628 divided by 6.28 is 100.
Because we don't know how to square root yet, we can just think of this logically. We know that r squared means r is multiplied by itself, r times r. So we have to think, what number multiplied by itself will give me 100? And we know that's 10, because 10 times 10 is 100. So we can go right ahead and put 10 right into our independent variable, r.
Sorry.